course of this channel, there have been a few milestones which have really humbled me. Most recently was the video that I got to do called An Honest Trade, where I went to the Carhartt, Kentucky factory, and now this. I get to work with one of the boot makers that I respect the most, and that would be Gabbard of Kreosote boots. They make the nail shank, which is my all-time favorite boot, and you know, I've been such a fan of his work for so long that for me, it's almost a little surreal. It's like being able to jam with Les Claypool and somebody you really admire. It's just an amazing thing. Now, the inception of this collaboration began nearly 2 years ago, and there are plenty of first versions of other boots which probably are gathering dust somewhere in the Kreosote workshop. But we wanted to create something special. You know, we really wanted to create something that was versatile but unique and different enough that it could be a cool, fun collaboration to do. And there's a reason that Kreosote has such rabid fans. There are several people out there who have 2 or 3 different pairs of boots from this maker because they're such fans of them. So there's a reason that people will pay thousands of dollars and wait over a year now, I think, to get their hands on a pair. Now, the real reason that I am such a big fan of Kreosote is because, as far as I know, it's the only boot maker in the United States that does everything from start to finish with one pair of hands. The same guy types out the order for your leather, receives it, dyes it, cuts it, makes the boot, sends it off to you. It's a true one-man shop. So for example, when you get a Goodyear welted boot, there's a canvas rib that it runs along the bottom of the sole in which the welt is actually stitched to. That's just the way it goes. I believe it's called gemming or geeming or however you pronounce it. Instead of doing that, which is a very quick process that gets done in minutes, what Gabbard actually does is hand cuts a holdfast channel on the bottom. And I actually have video of him doing this. It's very satisfying and kind of relaxing to watch, but it takes probably days. But I would imagine you'd have to take breaks because your hands would probably get stiff looking at how hard it is to actually cut that into the sole of the boot. And everything is sanded and massaged and changed and just made perfect to your feet because they are bespoke boots. It's that level of hand craftsmanship that you get. Everything from that, which you don't actually see, to something that you do see, like the hand-cut boot laces, which are flat cut so that they don't roll and tumble, so that they lay flat. And actually, a little cool thing I like about these is as they weave in and out, the underside is a little bit lighter, the top side is a little bit darker, and it matches the midsole layers of leather perfectly. It's a little Easter egg that this particular boot has that I really like. So for our collaboration, and I hesitate to use the word collaboration because what could a, video making boot nerd like me, who actually has never made a pair of boots ever, have to contribute to somebody who has gone through the process, through an apprenticeship, started their own very successful business? What could I possibly offer to them? Well, what I could do is I could offer some ideas. And now the fact that we're only doing 7 of these boots, 7 pairs of these boots, we could really do some interesting things. For example, that olive leather that you see right there, that's front and center on these boots. And that's actually hand dyed by Gabbard in a multi-step process over Wickett & Craig vegetable tanned leather. And the fact that it is hand-dyed means that there are some beautiful natural variations. And the color, it just looks very organic. And I don't mean that in that it's green, but the fact that it does have varying tones and saturation, and overall, it just doesn't look like a uniform factory-made boot. Now, these aren't stiff work boots, so don't let that vegetable tanned leather scare you. It's a manageable 5 ounces, which feels substantial but not burdensome. And let's not forget that there are several places where you may have multiple layers of this leather on top of your foot. So 5 ounces is actually a very nice middle-of-the-road thickness for the leather. I didn't really notice much of a break-in at all on these, but then again, there typically isn't very much break-in when a boot is made to your foot. Complementing that olive drab green leather is green nylon bonded thread, antique brass eyelets, a 12-iron midsole, steel shank, and finished off with a pair of Dr. Soul's half soles. That 1-inch stacked leather heel has a hint of Woodsman curve to it, but not like the exaggerated swoop that I've seen on some boots lately. The boot design is a variation of the Kreosote 7, which Gabbard patterned after a cool old photo of his grandfather running moonshine back in the day. To anyone new, it looks just like a handsome cap-toe boot, until you begin to notice the small details. Beyond the color, which is out front and center, it's the little things. Like I mentioned, those flat-cut laces which mimic the colors of the leather of the sole. Or that awesome heel counter, which Kreosote calls the XXX back curve. This is one of the secrets of Kreosote boots, which maybe I shouldn't be telling you, I don't know. There's that almost suction feeling when you put these on. You encounter a little resistance and then pop! Your heel finds its place and it's locked in. If you've watched any of my boot videos, you probably know that my Kreosote nail shanks are my all-time favorite boots. Their design, their fit, and the build quality are unmatched in my opinion. Now, these K7M boots, which is what we're calling the collaboration, are kind of like the more refined sibling to those. If the nail shank is a back alley bruiser, then these are like the Dapper Don version, you know? Shined up so they can go with all but the most formal attire, or let them accumulate scratches and scuffs, as good boots should. What I love, though, is looking over these boots at all of the handmade details. There's a noticeable difference between a boot like this and a factory-made boot. It's more solid and tighter overall, and you can begin to see all the slight variations which only come with handmade goods. The little marks of a craftsman and not the sterile precision of a machine in a factory. It's like products like this have a soul to them because somebody put a lot of time and effort and care into each one rather than just rolling off an assembly line. But there's one more goodie that you get with a pair of these collaboration boots, and that is a brass challenge coin. Now these are really cool, made by a friend of mine, and on one side is my logo, the Karl Murawski logo. On the other side is the Kreosote folklore boot logo with the raven and stuff. You'll get one of these as soon as you place your order, so it's sort of like a token to, you know, say, hey, you're on the list. And I hope that it brings you a lot of luck and prosperity. It's probably something that is just fun to keep with you if you're into EDC. We're only making 7 of them, so you definitely have something that's very limited. So finally, just how do you get your hands on a pair of these? Well, it's actually a little bit of a process. You can't just go and buy them. We're not going to give you a date. It's sort of going to be a surprise because I've been getting DMs, emails, all kinds of stuff where people are asking when this boot is going to be available. There's a lot of interest. And the way that we're going to do it is, what you need to do, go to my website, which is linked down below, sign up for my email list. And that way, I'm going to send an email out to the list, and in that email will be a link to a product page, which isn't listed on the Kreosote site. There you can go. You can place your order. That's how it's going to work. Go and sign up for my email list. I will send an email out to the people who have signed up. In that email will be a link. The first 7 people to click on it and place an order will get a pair of these boots. Now, the reason that we're doing it this way is because it would be very easy for somebody to just sit there and wait for something to go live at a particular time and then click and get it. That kind of sucks, you know, especially for people who have to work. I mean, hey, if you're out on the railroad, like I often am, and you know, you don't have your phone with you or you don't have service or whatever it is, and you can't get a pair of these, that's no good. I would rather do it this way. Now, it's not a perfect system by any means. I understand that. This is just the way we're going to do it for this run. They're very limited. Again, he's a one-man shop. 7 is plenty for him to try to handle, but that's how you get your hands on a pair of them. It's the best way I could figure to do it. So anyway, guys, I hope that those of you who want a pair of these can get a pair. And please let me know what you think when you get a pair in your hands, because I think they're something very special. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Good luck, and I'll catch you next time.